So good evening, parents. This is Don Crider, principal over at Stewart Middle School. Would you do me a favor and hop into the chat if you can, if you have that capacity, and respond to let us know that you can hear us. Okay, no responses. So I think, Mike, I think we just start. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so for the parents that can hear us, I'm going to go ahead and start. My name is Don Crider again, and what you're looking at is a picture of our current 6th grade class. And what I'll tell you is that we have a happy bunch of students that have relaunched back into our school. But I will be honest and I'll tell you that it is a challenging year. But our focus and our support has made the transition for these 6th graders a really good experience. And so we're hoping the same for yours as you transition as well. And that's what tonight is about, is what does a transition look like? What does Stewart offer? And what is it going to look like for your student when they jump into middle school? It's a big, scary opportunity, but it's a great one that Stewart has to offer your student. So for the agenda, we're going to talk about academics, and I'm going to talk briefly about our vision. Mr. Elford's going to jump into the Stewart experience, talk about AVID. Ms. Hathaway, our dean, is going to talk about athletics. Our Ms. Noble, our lead counselor, is going to talk about our counseling department and what we offer. I'm going to jump back in and talk about library and Jumpstart, which is a really important opportunity for your students. And then hopefully we'll have some question and answer opportunities. Just some housekeeping points to remember is that we are recording. We can't see the audience, so anything that you would want to share with us, please put into the chat. And we do the Q&A, we'll look into the chat as well. And once again, we are recording this. So if you would, please put your microphones on mute. We will monitor the chat, and there was a Q&A section, a question and answer session at the end of this. So the first thing is choice enrollment. We are at an open enrollment district in which our parents have the opportunity to move outside of their neighborhood schools. And if you are interested and live outside of the Stewart Heights area, then you have until January 21st to place an application in with the district to join Stewart Middle School. Who you will hear from tonight is me, Mr. Crider. You'll hear from Mr. Elford, our assistant principal, Ms. Hathaway, our dean, Ms. Noble, our counselor, Ms. Moore, our AVID team member, and unfortunately, Ms. Tarvin was not able to make it with us tonight, our librarian, but I'll talk briefly about our library. So the vision of Stewart is that everything we do encircles academics, and our vision key piece is the idea of a 3.0. And that's important, especially when we look at outcomes for students, especially when we have challenging coursework at Stewart like advanced placement. The intentionality that we provide our students through support programs like Community in Schools, YMCA, our AVID tutors, and our LAP tutors help students make that important 3.0 grade point average that's so important for their transition into career and college pathways. We're also a standards-based school, which means that our kids, chase learning and chase understanding and not just chase numbers. So it's not just about 3.0, but 3.0 is our goal based on the research that I'll show you next. So when we look at research and we look at GPAs, one thing we see that is students at this point that can learn to navigate academic systems like Stewart's have a much better chance of moving on into college. And so our goal is that our students would be high school ready, but also launch into either a future college or future career opportunity.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mr. Elford, the assistant principal. So let's talk about communication. One of the main things we always want to do here at Stewart is make sure that whatever we're doing here at school, families, the community knows what we're doing. So even if you feel like you don't get a lot of information maybe from this, you could always visit our website, stewartpanthers.org. We do have a Twitter account. We have a Facebook account. We always try to keep, again, the community updated on what all the great things we're doing here at Stewart. So for any time you need, your questions answered, if you're going to head to stewartpanthers.org, There is a contact list there. Every single teacher, myself, principal, counselors, anybody that works here at Stewart, you always feel free to email them, ask any questions you wish to figure out if this is the best place for you. ASB. We have a very, very strong ASB leadership program here. We have a designated ASB class, which is an advisory class where students are elected by their peers, and we also have a leadership class that 6th, 7th, and 8th graders are a part of. Their main job is to kind of keep the school culture and climate and listen to the students' voice. In most years, they would be in charge of running the assemblies. Obviously, this year it's a little bit different, just like dances and things like that. Those things are going to come back in the future, right? When your student comes here in 6th grade, these are all things that we're going to come back. It's a great opportunity, right? We do fun activities, fundraisers. We always try to bring in guest speakers, people from the community. Our main goal now, obviously without the assemblies and these kind of big things that we do with big gatherings, we have kind of shifted our focus more towards service projects, doing good things for the community. One thing we just did is the Stewart Gives Back program for this past Thanksgiving, which the leadership and ASB programs did a really good job. These are the groups of kids that really keep Stewart going and really keep us on the right track. And in the future, if your student were to go here, they could definitely be a part of it. Let's talk about music. Music is back, even in this kind of COVID kind of pandemic world. They're still safe enough to play music. Beginning orchestra for something that might is interesting to you. Violin, viola, cello, beginning band, flutes, clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, and trombone. Obviously, the assistant principal, I'm not super big on, I'm not a music teacher, but I do know that Mr. B and our music program is very strong. We have done plenty of kind of recitals and these kind of concerts in the past. Obviously, again, kind of in this world, the concerts are not here currently, but they will be in the future. Students will need their own drumsticks. If they're interested in learning to play, again, feel free to always contact one of us or Mr. B or the band teacher to find out more information. He will answer any questions that you may have. Something that is near and dear to my heart. Something that's really cool about Stewart Middle School is that we have a broadcasting program. It's called Panthers Now. If you were just go on YouTube, you could search up Panthers Now. What we have done is we are putting on, so like daily announcements. We do it over the intercom, but we also in the past have made videos and uploaded all of our daily announcements to our YouTube page. So for students, staff, again, families, people in the community, can watch too. It's more than just doing the daily announcements. It's collaboration. It helps students kind of work together and make videos. Again, it kind of connects us with the community because anybody in the world can watch our announcements. Anybody in the world can watch Panthers Now. And we are teaching real life skills in that class. Professional video editing. We're using professional cameras. So it's a really cool program. This is only offered to 7th and 8th graders currently, but again, when we open it up with 6th graders, they can apply for this class. It's a really cool step. We've had students go into the field after they get through high school into broadcasting programs. So it's one of the really cool things that we do here at Stewart. Another really good thing that we do here at Stewart is we have advisory. We meet for, as of right now, 12 minutes a day, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and we have a bigger chunk of a 30-minute class on Wednesdays. And what we really do right now is take this from an SEL, social emotional learning lens. We teach kids, how to conflict resolute with each other. If they come into a problem with another student, how do you kind of, go through that? It's a really good chance for them to kind of talk to each other. It's a good chance for them to set goals. We look forward, because we are an AVID school, we look forward to, kind of what kind of college options, what do you want to do in the future? We go through assemblies through this. This is a really good way because they do meet every single day with their advisory teacher. It's just really a great opportunity for them to check in. Hey, how are things going? How are your grades? How are you getting along with other kids? It's a really good opportunity for kids just to check in so we can help them. Next, we do have school supplies, right? So every year, beginning of the school year, we do offer school supplies, right? So when your student comes first day of school, there's a binder, there's notebook, there's a pencil pouch waiting for you, pens, highlighters, Post-its, all of that's already provided. And we do ask for a donation of $20 to kind of help pay for everything else. But again, so if you're thinking over the summer, oh my God, where's this, where's this list? Whatever I'm supposed to buy, don't worry. When you come first day of school, we have everything ready for you just to make it easier on you and students. when you first get here. I'm going to hand it off to Mrs. Moore.
All right. Hi, future Panther families. I'm Mrs. Moore, and I'm here to talk to you about one of the classes that we offer here at Stewart, which is AVID. And AVID stands for Advancement via Independent Determination or Individual Determination, depending on which acronym we're going with for which year. But it all means the same thing. And so this is a really great opportunity for students to learn how to be a student. How to take notes, how to organize themselves. That's the number one thing that I saw as a 5th grade teacher, and now again as a 6th grade teacher, is students don't know what it means to study, and they don't know what it means to be organized, especially for 6 classes a day. It's a real big focus toward college and career readiness programs, and so we do a lot of college explorations. We've actually already had several guest speakers in our AVID class, anywhere from Tote Marine company to Waste Connections has actually come out. And so even though we aren't able to tour colleges in this kind of current pandemic situation, we are still able to offer students those opportunities to explore jobs, careers, and colleges for their post-high school opportunities. This just shows college application and acceptance and how AVID students have a higher likelihood of being able to access financial aid and to be accepted into a college, mostly because we walk them through that process of what that looks like. And so there's some more AVID resources available to check out on that PowerPoint as well.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ms. Hathaway. I am the Dean at Stewart as well as the Athletic Director. Your student may or may not be super excited to play middle school sports. So I'll talk a little bit about some after-school programs that we have. As you can see on the slide, we offer many options for your student. We have 4 sessions that they can participate in. Something that's awesome about middle school nowadays is 6th graders can participate in all of our sports with the exception of football. Football is just 7th and 8th. So there's lots of opportunity for your student to get involved after school in our sports. There's 3 easy steps to do this. They have to buy an ASB sticker, which currently is only $15. If you need assistance with that, though, we are more than willing to help you out. Just let us know. You need a current physical on file, and then you sign up online through Final Forms, which you'll get more information on that as the school year approaches. So if you are interested in athletics, just keep in mind these are all of your options, many to choose from at Stewart Middle School. But if your student is not interested in any of the athletics or has a session that they won't be participating in, there are also many clubs that they can sign up for at Stewart Middle School. After school activities, we are very fortunate to have our YMCA have an awesome and thriving program at Stewart Middle School. There is opportunity for your student to stay after school every single day for these clubs. Sometimes the clubs fluctuate a little bit and they vary from session to session, but as you can see listed, there are many for your student to choose from. Also, we have an activity bus at 4:30 every day that takes them to their home elementary school if transportation is a problem. So that helps out a lot. We want to provide every opportunity for our kids to get them involved in Stewart. So athletics and these clubs are just a few of them. I think Miss Tarvin or Mr. Crider, Miss Tarvin.
Yep, I got it. So we have an incredible library, and when your student gets here, it's one of the things that's going to jump out to them is what a welcoming space it is, a comfortable learning environment in which kids can interact together. We have an incredible librarian, Ms. Tarvin, who is actively engaged with kids during their classroom experience when their classes go up to the library, but also she's there at lunchtime in which she creates an environment which is super cool. In our library, we've got over 9,000 titles and $56,000 invested within that space for our students. And the students use the library for computers, research, editing, and also for coding practice. It's just a fun place for them to be. And so Project Lit is one of the new things that we're offering this year, which is an interactive experience around books in which students can work together and interact together in different environments. And those environments include art stations, game stations, poster discussions, and collaborative activity stations. So it's a really cool and hopping place, and we'll have usually 45 to 50 kids moving around in different spaces just within the 30-minute lunch period that we have. And we do it on Fridays, and kids really engaged. And I'm followed by Ms. Noble.
Hi everyone, I'm Ms. Noble. I'm one of the counselors here at Stewart. Mr. Frazier is our other counselor, and we split the student population by alphabet. I'm here to talk a little bit about what a middle school schedule looks like at Stewart Middle School. That's one of the biggest changes as your student moves into middle school, right? Is that now they're going to be rotating and going to different classes. So we have kind of an example schedule on the screen, not necessarily that every student's schedule looks like this, but essentially we have 6 periods a day plus that advisory period that was talked about earlier. And so all classes minus that advisory are about 57 minutes, and all students take a language arts class, a science class, a math class, and then there's a few other classes that they take. They take a rotation of PE as well as like another fun elective. They take that AVID course that Ms. Moore was talking about, really utilizing that as a support to transition them from elementary to middle school. And then that period that says specialist is their elective choice. And so incoming 6th graders get to choose between 3 different options for that choice. They can choose band, which is a year-long class. They can choose orchestra, which is a year-long class. Or they could choose a rotation between an intro to Spanish and an art class one for each semester. And so that's the choice that they get for 6th grade. It's definitely a big transition for students to rotate through all those classes, but again, we do a lot to support them as they come in and they get used to kind of navigating those places, and AVID's a huge help for that. Some of the other things that the counseling department can offer for students at Stewart, we do individual and group counseling, and that's something that students can either sign up for themselves, or parents can refer for, or teachers can. We go into classrooms and we do lessons on different social emotional skills, like we do things like, emotion regulation, how to solve conflicts, things like that. And then we have a lot of really great resources and partnerships in our building. We have a food pantry program where students can come and get extra food for home if they need it, or clothing, things like that. We can do community mental health referrals if students need additional support. We have really good partnerships with places like Consejo and Greater Lakes. And then we do lots of holiday events and supports. I think Mr. Elford was talking earlier about our Stewart Gives Back, things like that. So lots of good ways to support students here at Stewart.
Oh, so that's good timing. As Ms. Noble just talked about ways that we support students at Stewart. This is a big one. This is something that really sets us apart from other schools. Stewart really focuses on restorative justice and restoring relationships. So we all know that we are going to encounter conflict in middle school. It's going to come up one way or another. We use restorative skills to solve these conflicts. What this does is this teaches our students conflict resolution skills. So essentially a life skill as they encounter conflict throughout their lives. What they will do is they work with adults in the building and the students that they might have a conflict with to understand the impacts of the actions that they had on others. This is a very fair process, but it also develops empathy amongst one another. And really through this social emotional learning process, it teaches the kids why when it comes to the conflict. We do this also amongst classroom circles that Mr. Elford had touched base on in our advisory earlier. This is something that builds relationships in our classes as well. But we also actually have a restorative coach in our building, and this is part of her job to meet with students and have these restorative conversations moving forward. So students really have the time to reflect and express themselves with each other and really think about what they want to do differently next time when it comes to solving their conflicts. And Mr. Crider.
Okay, so we feel strongly as a staff that we create champions, and our motto is champions are made at Stewart. And so one of the things we do, in addition to restorative that you heard from Ms. Hathaway, is the idea of PBIS, which is positive behavior and intervention supports. In that, we do multiple layers of opportunities for students to earn recognition within our school. Our teachers give what are called Panther Pride Slips. We have what's also called the Stewart Olympics, in which our advisories get to compete against each other. And we also have additional incentives for students that are just doing a good job. Like, for example, in December, we have December donuts for the advisories with the best attendance. And we also, in January, are planning pizza parties for the highest GPA advisory classrooms. And so this is our opportunity to keep it positive for kids so we can provide guidance to help them get through this tough time. And the last thing that I would definitely want to emphasize to our incoming parents is the opportunity called Jumpstart. You know, and Jumpstart is our transition time, and where we only have 6th graders in the building, and those 6th graders are right there with their future advisory teachers. So they have a week or a couple days to transition without the pressures that regular school might bring. And so it's a really interesting opportunity for kids to check in, to buy in and engage in some of the opportunities that we offer here and see Stewart without all the pressures. And so I highly recommend this summer, when we get to it, you'll hear from me at that point that your student attend, and you'll hear more as we move on. And the last thing is our survey. So if for some reason you weren't able to attend this live with us so that we can answer your questions, you can also take a couple seconds and fill out your questions so that I can respond to you directly. So if you click on this link, hopefully you'll have access to it via the PowerPoint, then you'll be able to leave your questions with us. If you have any questions or are able to access the chat, please do so at this point, and we'll stay on for another minute to see if there are any questions that we can field for you. Ms. Hathaway, since we're waiting, can you tell us how our sports teams are doing?
So it's looking like, my fingers are crossed. I feel like I shouldn't say it. I don't want it to. It's looking like our boys soccer team, I think they're going to make it to playoffs. I think they're going to make it to playoffs for session 2. That's where we're going right now with this session. But I have heard very big things about our football team in the past as well, and their success for session 3. So I'm looking forward to that.
And Ms. Hathaway did an incredible job managing this and getting us back into normalcy. And so seeing kids out on fields, on courts, has been one of the highlights for me this year. So thanks, Ms. Hathaway.
Yeah, good to see so many kids playing.
Well, I don't see anything showing up in the chat.